Everyone has been wondering about this question, and you might be as well. Will AI replace my job? And the truth of this matter is that it's going to be a yes and a no, but it depends on a few things, like what role you're in, the industry, your seniority, and the goals of the company that you're working in. Because not every layoff, hiring freeze, or job cuts are because of AI. A lot of it also depends on the companies. Maybe they're trying to cut cost, maybe they want to be less bloated, maybe it's just a play to impress investors and increase their stock prices, or perhaps they're trying to correct all the overhiring that they did when the macroeconomics and interest rates were low enough and to their favor. So in this video, let's go ahead and look at the different types of roles that are going to be impacted by AI over the next couple of years. And we'll look at some of the roles that have a high chance of being replaced by AI and some of the roles that are going to stand strong against AI. And when we're looking at jobs that are going to be replaced by AI and the different types of jobs over the next 12 months and over the next couple of years, there's three types. The first type is going to be jobs that are heavily going to be replaced by AI. The second types of jobs are going to be moderate replacements, semi-replacements, and the third type of jobs are going to be the ones that are going to stand strong against AI. So they're going to be harder to replace. So let's take a look at each one of them. So the first type of jobs, which may be fully replaced or heavily replaced, are going to be jobs that have a lot of repetition, process driven. These jobs are usually easier to automate, and they don't really require that much judgment, critical thinking, or relationship building inside that job. Some examples of roles like this would be data entry, transcription, basic tasks that are abundant in freelancing platforms like Fiverr or Upwork. And the reason that most of these jobs are at high risk are because AI can probably do them faster, it can do them easier, and it can also do them cheaper. Because when companies have that feeling that these tasks can be just good enough and they don't need expensive talent to run these tasks, they're going to rely on automations and AI and see how they can save a lot of money and save costs in doing these tasks. And here, you should take a look at Fiverr or Upwork. Look at their stock prices. They've plummeted more than 70 to 90% because AI has come after the gig economy. Most of the gig economy are going to be services like logo design or transcription services or freelance writing, copywriting. And these industries have been hit hard by AI because AI can do most of these tasks easier, faster, and cheaper. So AI poses the highest risk of replacing these type of jobs first. And now we're looking at the second type of jobs. These jobs are not going to be fully replaced by AI. They're going to be a bit harder to replace. However, there's going to be some replacement here, semi-replacements I call it. So essentially in these type of jobs, there's going to be less people doing the work of a lot of people with the help of AI. So if we take a look at some examples of roles, these are going to be roles like project managers, software engineers, and mostly roles in operations. Because these roles aren't at the forefront of revenue roles, they're not client-facing roles, but they're still important for the company to run their normal functions. So an example could be before a team would have 5 people in their marketing team, one running content, someone running the advertising, someone running media and PR. But with the help of AI, they might not need 5 or 6 people. They might just have 2 people who have all those skills, but they're just getting it done faster with AI. So instead of 5 or 6 people, it's going to be 2. And usually in these type of roles, the junior employees are going to be the ones who are most affected. Because they're the ones doing most of the repetitive tasks. They're the ones who are doing less strategic, less execution-based work. And they're the ones that usually have less face time with clients, and their roles don't have that much leadership responsibilities. So if you're in a role that's in type 2, AI might not fully replace your job, but it will reduce how many people a company needs that are working in this type of job, in this function. And now we look at number 3. These jobs are way harder to replace by AI because these jobs usually rely on trust, persuasion, leadership, judgment, and relationships. So what are examples of some jobs and some role niches that are in type 3? We have examples like sales, wealth management, doctors, lawyers, and to be honest, any roles that have a high degree of judgment, of critical thinking, of leadership, and roles that require relationships and a lot of trust, these roles will be harder to replace by AI. And why do roles that require trust, judgment, communication, and relationships harder to replace by AI? Because if you look at it from the lens of sales, people are going to buy from people. So clients need trust, they need good communication. Large enterprise clients that are getting consulting work done, they still need to talk to the project managers, they still need to talk to all the senior consultants. So usually people who are at senior level, they're working on clients, they're having a lot of face time with clients, they're taking ownership of projects. People who are in sales that are driving revenue for that company, these people in these roles are going to be safer than most. But that's not to say that they won't use AI. AI can still help them when it comes to doing research, doing prep work, helping them with their follow-ups, for example, if they're in sales. And there's going to be many AI tools that are going to help these people work better, work faster, but in terms of replacing them, it's going to have minimal impact. But to be honest, with all three of these roles, AI still is a little bit overhyped. Because the truth of the matter is that the AI hype is bigger than what it seems to be. And if you're noticing the headlines and the news that so many jobs have been cut and a lot of people are getting laid off and everyone is being replaced by AI, that's not the whole truth. Because a lot of companies are pushing the AI narrative into the market, into the media, into the news for several reasons. One of the reasons are stock gains. They're trying to impress their shareholders and increase the stock price by pushing the AI narrative. Because the more companies invest into AI, the more they're going to make their shareholders and executives happy. Because no company wants to be left behind in the AI arms race. And so if they seem like they're throwing a lot of money, investments into AI, and riding the whole bandwagon of AI and all the innovation that is yet to come, they give off the perception to investors and the stock market that they are innovating with the pace of technology, with the pace of AI, which is going to help their stock prices grow. And the second reason companies are pushing the AI narrative hard is because it helps justify layoffs. So if you've noticed in the past couple of years, in 2023, 2024, 2025, we've seen the number of layoffs drastically increase. And as much as companies want to scapegoat AI as the main reason behind this, that's not actually true. For example, during COVID, when interest rates became low, like 0% low, so that it can help boost the economy in a remote first environment, companies started to take advantage of the interest-free loans and borrowed basically free money so that they can invest into new companies, invest into projects, and just hire anyone and everyone. So that's why if you were job searching in that period, it must have been a lot easier. And after COVID, because interest rates naturally started to increase and the Federal Reserve took it up to 5%, 5.5%, it's about 3.75 now, but at that point, when it was at 5%, it just became a lot more expensive for companies to maintain their projects, their investments, and the payroll because of all the staff that they hired, but they still have to, pay back all the loans that they borrowed. So it became more expensive to retain all that staff, to retain projects, to keep investments going at the same rate that they did in 2020. So that's why layoffs happened, because they wanted to correct the overhiring that was done during COVID when interest rates were basically near zero. And number two, which is basically a trend that is continually happening, is that companies usually act like dominoes. So when one falls, the others follow suit. And if you notice the mass layoffs, especially in the tech industry, when they happened is after Elon Musk took over Twitter, and now it's called X, he laid off 80% of the staff because he quoted that the company was too bloated. He mentioned that companies can be run more efficiently, and that's why he laid off more than 80% of the staff at what was previously called Twitter. After that moment, so many other companies such as Meta, Amazon, Google, Salesforce, they also followed the same pattern. They started laying off people. They mentioned that they wanted to be more efficient, but some of them were using AI as the scapegoat in the media and the news because it's easier to land. And that's why you'll notice, even if they had record level profits, layoffs still continued to happen because efficiency and the need to be less bloated was the actual reason behind most of these layoffs. But to dismiss AI as non-existent when it comes to replacing jobs would be me just lying. Because to be honest, AI is a real force. It is affecting industries faster than we think. However, it is not the main reason that the job market feels harder or that all these layoffs are happening because of it. But to also finish my analysis, AI is not always gloom and doom when it comes to the job market. In the long run, AI is also expected to create more jobs than it actually takes away. And the World Economic Forum even released a report saying that AI is expected to create 170 million new jobs and replace about 92 million jobs. So the net increase is going to be about 78 million jobs. And this is going to be in the long term. So if you look at jobs like AI strategy, AI operations, AI consulting, AI compliance, AI regulations, these fields will explode because of how widespread AI will become. So these will create new jobs in almost every single industry. There's going to be AI compliance required in healthcare, in technology, in professional services, and several other industries as well. So in the short term, AI feels overhyped, especially when we translate that into how much it impacts on the job market. But in the long term, it's going to be a real force. But not always gloom and doom, there is hope that AI could lead to a net increase in the amount of jobs that it creates. So for me and you, what we have to do is just wait it out and see how the rest of the years play out, how AI is going to be impacting the job market. But if you feel like you want to future-proof yourself in the era as AI continues to increase and be a force in how it's shaping the economy, how it's shaping the job market, here are some things you can do. Make sure that you learn AI tools that are relevant in your field and that you get very comfortable with it. This is going to help you become more productive and more efficient in your own jobs. And the better you perform and the more proficient you are with the evolving technologies, it's going to help you perform better and eventually be closer to leadership roles, which, as I've mentioned earlier, are going to be less impacted by AI. And another thing that professionals can do is to increase their skills, be better at communication so that they get higher level responsibilities, especially ones that get them closer to revenue roles and projects that increase the amount of face time that they have with clients. Because the higher level of ownership and responsibility you have, it's going to be harder to replace you with AI. And the final thing that people can do is look at which type of companies are embracing AI to help their current employees be better, and they continue to nurture talent and hire more people. So look at their cultures. There's going to be some companies that are trying to replace people with AI, and you want to avoid those. And instead, look for the companies that want to empower people with AI, that still believe that human talent is the number one resource and AI is just going to supercharge it and be a point of leverage for people to be better and to be faster at their jobs. And just before I end this video, if you are interested in pivoting to a new role and you're looking for one-to-one career coaching support and help with a team that's going to apply for jobs on your behalf, you can click the link below in the description and learn more about us and how we've helped more than 1,000 people. So if you actually take a look at our YouTube, you'll see several case studies of people like you across several different role niches and how we've helped them pivot into their next role and get higher paying offers. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you until the next one.